Then I just to get my stuff out of the way as well. Okay. So you had a good morning so far?
Yep. Work.
Yeah. Decent. Okay, cool. Let's go. I'm not going to mess you about and try and take the mic like I do with other people. I try and like catch people out at first. It's been rolling, but I'm not going to mess with you because you're a big guy and you probably screw me up, man. Thank you very much for coming. Well, letting me come to you today and do this chat, man. It's a real privilege for me to come and do this. So thank you. Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to Luton's Deadpool podcast with me, Luton's Deadpool, and my special guest today,
Mostaque Koyes.
There you go. Oh man, this is really exciting. I've been looking forward to doing this one for such a long time because you're just such a big inspiration in the town with your work with community interest and with your work with Discover Islam and with all the different groups like Food Bank, everybody that you've helped and Keech. Like man, it's like when I think about the people that I help, I'm like, it's quite hard to count them on your hand, like the people that you help. But then I think that you would need probably 100 people with 100 hands to count all the things that you've done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've achieved a lot, man. And I don't want to like tell your story for you, so I'm going to let you take the wheel on this, right? So let's go from like when you was a kid. So you come from Luton, yeah?
I come from Luton.
Yeah.
Live in Berry Park, Ash Road, a couple of doors away from the stadium. Born and brought up. Went to Beach Hill Primary. Went to Beach Hill Juniors. Went to Denby High. Went to Luton Sixth Form. And back then, I think it was University of Bedfordshire, or Luton University.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. So let's go a little bit deeper into that. Yeah. So when you was at school, what was you into? What kind of a kid was you?
When I was in school, I think I was one of those guys that actually got along with the teachers. So I had a really good relationship when I was in Denby. I think going back then, I wasn't a trouble kid. I didn't give my parents any trouble, nor did I give any teachers any trouble.
Yeah.
I guess leadership came in when I wasn't the brightest A-star student. I was your average, C. I was given head boy. So I was head boy at Denby, and I think that kind of opened my doors really. It gave, I think back then, Yasmin Bevan a chance to believe in me. And since then, you end up learning to take part, do things. I guess when you get given opportunities, you take it.
Yeah.
I think I went to sixth form. When I went to sixth form, I was the vice president of the student council. So you get voted in. And I guess you end up building your network from that. Obviously, I got involved in the family business, the print business, which I've been running for the last 20 years. And I guess over the years, when you see a niche or you see a market, you want to do things in the town. And I guess back in 2012, when there was a lot of bad publicity around the town, I was involved in the print. And I just thought, why don't we just, create a magazine that has good publicity? Because back then, nothing was digital.
Yeah.
So a lot of people used to read. And we thought if we created a magazine and we self-fund it through advertising, we can get good stories about people. There's a lot of good people in Luton.
Oh, 100%.
Good. But how do you get that in the public eye?
Yeah.
And the magazine actually came first.
I love that you decided, sorry to interrupt there, it's just, like that is such a big part of making a change happen is putting the responsibility on yourself to do something about it. And that I'm so grateful that you decided to do that because, as you're going to tell, like where it grew from there is beautiful.
I think the magazine grew for 12 months with regular businesses advertising. Pictons were one of my first supporters. They came on board, and we thought the magazine's a good platform, but how do you lift people? There weren't any award ceremonies in Luton, so we thought we would go to local businesses who would actually support categories. We had a very relatively small budget, and I always believed if you've got belief in yourself, you can make things happen. We did the first award ceremony. We had over 400 people attend. People that we didn't invite turned up. So we made mistakes, and we kind of learned from that. And then in the second year, Amy came on board. Sufyan kind of had her as an intern at college, and I kind of took her in as a work experience, and then we kind of just gave her different roles.
Yeah. What a great girl Amy is as well.
She's brilliant.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And in the second year, we thought, we've got businesses supporting us, but what we bring in terms of money, we should be able to give back to the town.
Yeah.
And we always looked at tangible. And I think we kind of started supporting local charities, because what we wanted was, if you do things in Luton, keep things in Luton. Spend the money in Luton.
I love that.
Everything locally.
Yeah.
If a business is supporting you locally, you need to give back to them.
Yeah, 100%.
That was our ethos behind it. That keep the pound going around local. If you do that, then everybody wins. And everybody gives. And I think we can look back now. I think 13 years on, we've raised over 1 million. We've supported several charities. Having good relationship with people is key. Things might not go what you want, but it's how you take it and how you grow from that. Things will always be unfair in life, but don't be bitter about it. Move on, and you grow, and the doors open. And what I would say is, you don't have to be an A-star student to get somewhere in life. You can be an average kid. As long as you've got a bit of humanity in you, you can give back. I guess our faith teaches that a lot, to give back. And I guess we don't really have any bad relationship with anybody in the town. We kind of work with all the communities, and the doors kind of open with whoever comes and knocks at the door. The work has grown, obviously, from the awards. We started a networking club called the Curry Club, which used to meet every month, once a month. And it was just about local businesses working together, charities working together, community groups working together, just to support one another. Whether sometimes it could be an advice. I've got a handful of people that, if I'm stuck at something, I can ring someone.
You can call someone,
And it doesn't necessarily need to be about work. It could be about anything. And as long as you've got the support structure, it's key. My family have been very supportive. My brothers and my siblings have all been supportive of what I do. And I guess when you've got a strong support structure, you always go far. And every single project, get people involved. It doesn't really matter about age, young, old, different communities. If people can see that you're generally going to do good, support will come out.
Well, that's like with is it Let's Hub?
Yeah, Let's Hub.
Yeah, can we talk about that a little bit?
So we, from the Curry Club, we started doing employment fairs back in, I think, 2014. Employment figures in the town were very high, and what we thought was, communities or groups would say there's no jobs out there. We thought, if you can bring employees under one roof, education under one roof, and voluntary and charity under one roof, and show that there's opportunities. We brought 40 employees on the first event. And I think we had 1,300 people attend the first event. We weren't expecting that many, but we had good partnerships with local council, local job centre. And we started repeating that twice a year. And then the local jobs kind of said, look, we want to give you a contract to work with local people. And then the Let's Hub was born.
That's crazy. That's how it was. That because if someone comes up with an idea like that, to actually turn it into something like that you've made it now, it requires someone to really believe in you and trust in you, right?
And the first contract we got given was, they gave us a budget and said, we want you to work with 200 people and get 50 people into employment. We took an office in Britannia Estates. We took a room. We created, it didn't have disabled access, but you have to create. We made a slope and we put a slope in there for anyone that was disabled.
So literally nobody's excluded.
So nobody's excluded.
Yeah, mate, that's amazing.
And out of the 200 clients over 9 months, we got 15 to work. So 50 clients were actually into work. I don't know how we did it, but we fluked it. Because you do the first program and you learn from mistakes. We then got given a second contract to work with 150 clients and get 13 to work. We kind of achieved that. And then we did the third contract. And again, we hit our targets with that. And then we kind of knew Britannia Estates was being sold. The building was going to close. So I took a building in King Street, number 30. And I kind of created a vision that, you want someone to come in and feel they're comfortable. I didn't want it to be classroom based. So I created everything, what I've learned over the last 4 years in Britannia Estates. And I opened Let's Hub in King Street back in, I think, 2018. And since then, we've delivered contracts. We've got good partnership with different partners across the town. We have unemployed people coming in. It's free to use.
Yeah.
So it's not like the library where you've got to, I think, you've got to pay £1 to use the IT facilities. Throughout lockdown, we were only closed for 6 weeks, and our facility was open with restrictions. But we kind of, in the lockdown period, we filled in 600 universal credit forms.
Oh wow!
So
that's 600 individual people that you've helped, and not necessarily just individual people, but their families as well. That is beautiful, man. That's amazing.
And then we kind of, I think some of the other projects we stopped because of COVID, so we did food supply, and it was a temporary contract that we got from DEFRA. We kind of said, here's some money, and we did food deliveries to people's door. We were supported by Beds Community Foundation, which kind of covered the staff. I was fighting to keep the business going here, so I had a team that were willing to, deliver goods to people's house, and we did that in that time, in the time of really when it was needed. As things started easing, we got food given. I think 26 pallets of food.
Oh my gosh.
Which we stored at the venue because the venue couldn't be used, and then we had local providers picking up food from us. So, one thing in Luton, whenever there's a need, the community will always come out.
Yeah. Man, you was a big part of that. Honestly, that's where I discovered you during lockdown, because I didn't know anything about community interest. I didn't know anything about Let's Hub. I wasn't really very socially active in my community before 2019 sort of time. I was kind of just, I liked football. That's what my timeline was. It wasn't really anything. It was only during lockdown when I really started to think about my area around me, and I started to worry because of how hard it was for people, and I was so scared I was going to lose people, and it made me really start to appreciate the things that I have, and I wanted to make sure that I could do what I wanted to make my community better. And then so my idea was I'll get onto social media and I'll just start following people who are local and are doing cool stuff. And you was like one of the first people in there, man, because seriously, you was all over my timeline. You just hashtag Luton and bam, there's Mostaque doing something.
No, I think
oh, I'm so sorry. Can I just check? I just want to check that this is working still, because sorry about that. Sorry about that. No, it's just on my last one, do you know who Frankie Fraser is?
Yep.
Yeah, so I had Frankie on my podcast. I'm so sorry, Frankie. I had him on my podcast the other day, and the barrels, and it cut out 4 times, I think. So we had to keep stopping and restarting, and he had to keep repeating the things that he'd already said. And it was so bloody frustrating, man. Luckily, Frankie's an absolute champion, yeah, and he took it like a champ, and he just rolled with it, man. In fact, because of all of that, we got to talking about other stuff after the podcast, and we got some things coming up that's going to be so cool. But anyway, sorry about to interrupt there, but yeah.
No, I think at the time of COVID, everyone's got their own strengths.
Yeah.
So Sujal was doing the funerals. My other brother's child was picking up the bodies, and they were doing the funerals. So that little group, especially with 2 of the local mosques, that's what they're doing. My strength was actually doing the food deliveries. That's what I kind of chose to do because I saw a need, and I guess we got out what was needed to all the providers, to the people in the local community. COVID's gone. We've started back on our projects. I think one of the best things I did, and I look now and I reflect, was back in 2017 when I chose to do the marathon, and that was for myself. I didn't do it to inspire anybody else. I did it because health-wise, I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis, and I take injections every 2 weeks. So I've got an immune problem. But when you take steroids, you end up putting weight. And everybody kind of looks at everybody, kind of comments. So I took the challenge to raise money, but raise awareness about running. But when I shared my journey, it kind of inspired. So Sujal, Shahed, Kamal, who was my best mate, we did the London Marathon, and since then there's been a massive change in the town. There's groups that have been born out of it.
I know. You say that you didn't go out to inspire, but bloody hell, did you inspire? What?
So, and one thing we learned during COVID period time, a lot of people who were runners, it gave them their space.
Yeah.
And running gives each person their own space. Mentally, physically, and so on. And now you kind of look at the park runs. You look at any local initiative to do with running. We've got a diversified crowd. Lots of money being raised for charity. Supporting children with cancer as a group with Luton Lions. We raised £250,000. Our Love Luton local run is now it's growing.
It's crazy. It's becoming like one of the biggest events
in the town. We've got schools engaged. We've got colleges in.
I can't wait for the next one. Oh my gosh, I'm running in the next one. I swear to God, I'm running.
Signing up for my team.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be in the full suit as well. I'm still going to run. Well, I say that I've got a workout.
Yeah. So our plan for this year is Food Bank's 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So our plan is to support Food Bank with 6 or 7 different events. And actually doing events, raising money, but also enjoying yourself. You've got to enjoy what you've got to do. And, for us, we like putting events on. It creates a buzz, it creates unity, it creates camaraderie. You can see that with the different relationships. I don't see different colleges as competition. I see that if we all united as one, we can all work together.
Yes, bro. I love that.
And that's always been our motive behind that. Unite people, because when you're united, you're stronger together.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like we all support each other. We all hold each other up. You're only stronger when there's more of you holding something up, right?
And I've got to give a shout out because Luton Town Football Club has been a major part of my life.
Yeah. Obviously,
I've got a community ambassador role. Feeling part of the furniture there.
You must be so proud of that, man.
It's an awesome.
That's a touch, like that, to have your club take you in like that.
Take you in.
Yeah.
Gary Sweet's been, brilliant.
Yeah.
all the staff there are absolutely brilliant to me. Players, managers. We had Nathan running.
Yeah, I met him. I met
us.
him at the thing. Yeah, he's
So
cool.
it's you know, some things money can't buy.
Have you met the new manager yet?
I'm going to meet him next week.
Ooh, I can't wait. Meeting of two great men. No, it's cool when that happens, man. I love it. I love when you see two great people.
We've got, you know, especially with the coaching team.
Yeah.
There's a brilliant relationship with you know, Kevin, Jarrod, and
Yeah.
Elliot ran as part of our marathon team. So it's, you know, the normal people.
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
And you know, the clubs have always been supportive of everything what we do. You know, and I guess people see you for who you are, and they respect that. And it works both ways. You give respect to you and respect back. The club are very supportive in terms of everything we do. And the community as a whole is always given. There's businesses, you know, that there's not many businesses that don't support us. I think you know, we've united every part, different aspects of the community, whether it's sports, whether it's culture, whether it's the airport, whether it's the council, whether it's the councillors, whether it's schools, whether it's children, whether it's high schools, whether it's faith-based schools. We work with everybody.
Yeah.
There isn't anybody that's actually kind of missed out. If anybody feels that we're missing them out, please do get in contact with us.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, to anybody that's out there watching, if you've not been involved in Community Interest Luton or Mostaque or Amy or Luton Lions or any of the number of things that this man is involved with, please get in contact with him. He's a great guy, easy to talk to, and I'm sure he'll want to help you.
And we're happy to help. You know, and there's a number of projects. We run the Curry Kitchen, which you normally regular at Discover Islam on a Friday night. So there's a number of projects, whether it's running.
Can we just give a shout out to a lady actually that works there who doesn't like the limelight whatsoever? Galsima.
She's a diamond.
Is she not one of the most precious human beings that there is?
She's brilliant. So I've known Galsima because she taught my daughter in the nursery.
Oh, really?
Before. So that's how I know Galsima. But she's brilliant. Hamza and the rest of the team at Discover Islam, Sohail, they do some fantastic work, and we're proud to support any of the initiatives.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick out Galsima especially because, you know, most of us aren't too bothered with our faces being out there and stuff. And obviously, you know, I don't put my face, but like most people will be on social media and stuff, and they don't mind being in pictures and whatever. But she is a lady that really hides in the shadows. Like, I mean, I only know who she is because I go there. Do you know what I mean? And it's such a shame that more people don't know who she is. But obviously, I respect her decision to not want to be in the limelight or anything like that. But you know, I was saying to you before the podcast, like with yourself, because you're kind of the same. You're a quiet guy, really. With all the great stuff that you do, you don't ever, you never like wanting to be the centre of attention. Even at Community Interest Luton, right? The first time that I went, I didn't know who you was, at all, right? Because obviously I just wasn't involved that much with them sort of things. So, well, I knew who you was, but I wasn't sure what your position was in the whole thing. I just knew you was important to it. Do you know what I mean? Because you didn't come on stage and have a big talk. You did a little bit, really small bit at the beginning.
The thing is, I don't like the limelight. I'm a doer. I prefer being back of the scenes and putting everything together. That's the buzz that I get. You know, as long as I can put the whole thing together, make it successful, and people are happy. That's the main thing.
It's a part of you that I really love because, you know, you've got so many people that adore you and want to do things for you, and you could be so arrogant about it, and you could just lord it above people, and you could have gone from being in the position what a lot of people do, where they start with not like a great deal of people around and stuff like that, and then they have a lot of people around and they just become knobs. You could have become that. Anyone could, but because it's like the power and the glory kind of can capture some people. But with you, you're special, man, because it's not got you. Like, what makes you different?
I think your intentions have to be clear. why do you do it? You do it because you want to do it. You don't
Yeah.
do it because you want recognition. And for me, I do it because I enjoy doing it and I enjoy giving back. You know, there's a part of me that I don't need a limelight. I don't need titles. I don't need anything, because
Yeah.
actually having key relationships with people is key.
Yeah.
Picking up the phone and when something needs to be done, that's more important than being somebody on stage and trying to lord it out. If that makes sense.
I mean, like, you kind of get the good stuff anyway as a result of doing the good work. If your intentions are true, like, it kind of, you get good stuff. It's like it works hand in hand, don't it?
Doors will open.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing
I mean,
is,
like, you met the king, right?
I've met the king.
That
I've met the king.
was amazing. When I saw that picture, and you looked so happy as well.
It was an amazing picture. It was a privileged moment.
Yeah.
The king spoke to me about faith. So
Yeah.
he knew about faith. He talked to me about zakat. So, you know, he fully knew. I guess my beard gave it away.
Yeah.
And he said, "What brings you here?" And I said, "I was invited because of the charitable stuff that I do locally in the Luton community." And he kind of said, "Well, zakat must play a major part in your faith." And that's what we talk.
Well, can you explain? Because I don't know what that is.
Zakat is basically, there's a certain amount of charity you've got to give. Every Muslim person has to give I think 2.5% to charity. If you practice it, most people in Luton practice it. You end up giving it. So it's based on your wealth, based on
But your time,
not your time, is what's in your bank balance.
it's
your
that's what it's to do.
So,
Okay.
and you've got to do it every year. So every person has to do it every year. So if you practice your faith, people will give.
Okay.
So it's kind of
that is great. Like, aside from in Islam, if everybody done that, just 2.5%. Like, I mean, you know, I'm sure that you probably do a hell of a lot more than that.
you do it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
And you do it because there's a need in the community.
Yeah.
So if there's a need in the community, your community have rights over you. Your neighbors have rights over you, regardless of what faith they are. So, your faith plays, your faith defines who you are and how you are as a character.
Yeah.
And your character, what you want is people to say this person's a good person. And look, a lot of, I guess, growing up when the EDL came into town, there's a perception of Muslims. The real perceptions are guys discover Islam. There's a list of amount of people locally.
Do you know what? There was a video. I don't know if you remember this. A few years back when Tommy Robinson come into. Sorry to say his name. I'll have to wash my mouth out now after that. But he came to discover Islam, and there was a YouTube video. He was trying to goad the people in there to try and come at him, right, and and show themselves for the thing that he's trying to say that they are. Yeah. And they done the complete opposite, and they were just so warm and welcoming, and they killed him with kindness. It was absolutely brilliant. And he got so angry that they wasn't getting angry.
I think we work with all faiths, and that's Luton's biggest strong point. I think the diversity in the community, how in Luton, I don't think there's anywhere in the country.
I agree. Especially because of how tightly packed it is, right?
And there's a very strong relationships, and when you sit on different boards and different groups, you kind of learn, and learning never stops. And as long as you respect each other, you're always going to be strong. There's always going to be an element of error or misjudgment somewhere along the line. It's how you come out of it and how you're judgmental towards it. Luton is harmonious. It's a brilliant town. I wouldn't
agree.
I wouldn't change that for anything.
I mean, it's got its bad parts, right? There is, I talked to some police officers in the town, and I talked to ambulance staff. I talked to people who work in the NHS just in general. Teachers. I talked to a lot of people, and there are really, really serious problems still.
There's always going to be
Yeah.
there's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Whichever town you live in, there's always going to be a bad egg.
Yeah, of course.
It's how you look. You know, you could be either negative about it or you could be positive about it. Being negative sets your mindset to be negative.
Yeah, of course.
If you're positive about everything that's positive, your mindset's always positive.
Yeah.
So it's how you as a person or you as an individual or group take that on board.
I suppose, like, kind of in a way, what you're saying is that if we continue to show the negative rather than the positive, it's going to feed the beast. Yeah. Whereas if we show the positive, then it's like we calm people's perceptions down, and then maybe people in those communities where it is quite bad, there's a lot of crime. Maybe they start taking more accountability for themselves as well because they want to be part of this community. You know what I mean?
I think everyone's got a duty.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a duty, you know.
I think a lot of people are waiting for the government to do something. Do you know that?
The thing is, there's no point waiting for the government.
Yeah.
Because whatever happens in your locality, you've got to make the change. You've got to drive the change. If you say it's not my problem, or I say it's not my problem, or, you know, it's similar like your road's dirty, but you're not prepared to sweep up. But if you start preparing sweeping up, your neighbour looks at you and says, I need to sweep my up.
Exactly.
Before you know it, you've got a clean road.
Yeah.
So it's a perception of how you take things and how you do things. So you've got to set the precedent.
Yeah, because that's kind of how people have always been. People have always been like that, right? They took responsibility for their roads. Like, I mean, for me, growing up, I'm sure it's the same for you. Like, we kept the front of our house tidy, man. Do you know what I mean? We didn't. If someone's littering on our road, we make sure we tell that person stop littering on my road. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And when you take responsibility and you own, then the perception is different. And I guess with our projects, what we've done is we've owned it and we believe in it and we've made the change. And because we've made change, other people have followed and other people have supported and other people want to be part of it. That's what it comes. That's what it comes down. And naturally, you know, if your intentions are good, people see it.
Yeah, of course.
That's what, you know. That actually, there's no hidden agendas. I guess you've got to carry on doing that good because eventually the perception changes.
Yeah, of course. No, I definitely agree. I mean, like, you know, it's the hardest thing to change because it's like we speak about you meeting the king and how lovely an experience that was for you, and not just how lovely an experience for you, yeah, how proud that makes me to come from Luton to know that it's possible to meet the king, and because you and me ain't too different, yeah, we come from similar sort of thing, yeah, and like, although, you know, you've grown up in a different part of me, I actually grew up in Berry Park myself, just down, you know, where the Ridings is.
Yep.
Yeah, I grew up in the Ridings, the flats there. That's where me and my mum lived the first part of my life, and then I moved over to Stopsley eventually, and that's where I spent like the majority of my time growing up. But because of that, like, definitely for me, like, that helped me to. I was around so many different kinds of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Stopsley, growing up during that time, it wasn't quite like that. Stopsley was very predominantly white area, but I got to see the different sides of like how a diverse community lives and how a not so diverse community lives, right? And it helped shape my idea. But anyway, what I was trying to say was that by knowing that you could meet the king just by doing charity work, like, man, it's not like, oh, just charity work. Like, you put in a lot of work for what you do. It's not just charity, but because you strove and you tried and you probably failed at times as well, but you still managed to make it so successful, and you've helped so many people that the people who arranged for the king to come gave you a call and was like, do you want to meet the king?
No, the thing is, you're always going to make mistakes along the line. I think, you know, sometimes what is portrayed and what you see is two different things. You know, you always have challenges. Any project that you do, there's always going to be downfalls. It's how you learn from the downfalls and make and adapt and change for the next one. Meeting the king, from my understanding, the council wanted, you know, the king wanted to see community cohesion, and the invite I got was, you do a lot of community cohesion work. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to invite you. And it was a privilege, proud, and I'm very thankful to the council for inviting me.
Yeah, but like I say, you've earned it, man.
You know,
You've earned it. Like that. Like when the king asks that question, and they immediately think of you. That just it fills me with pride. But not only that, it makes me understand that the chances of us turning this town around are high. They're high because if it can create you, like man, I'm sure it can create more.
There's a lot of role models in Luton.
Yeah, let's big up Sufyan actually. Can we give a couple of shout outs actually? Yep. Sufyan, I love him, man. Like the Community Interest Awards that I went to in 2021, where he was on the MC all night. Yeah. Oh my god, I was in stitches. I was literally in stitches, man. He was the best. He was the best. But not only that, for what he does in the teaching community and for the kids in education, like. There's like a generation of kids that have been born out of what he's done, like Hanan and Sahil and like man, there's so many of them. There's so many of them that have come through.
You know, within the teaching background, we seen people that we went to school with who are deputy assistant and deputy teachers, which is nice to see. So he's had a brilliant career. He's doing some amazing work.
Yeah.
And obviously I love working with him.
Can we please have him on the mic every year though? He's amazing. Amazing. He was like watching Eddie Murphy. He was so funny. He was so funny. I was thinking, please tell me that someone is just like making a clip of him and what he's doing, and then we're going to put it out on YouTube and start his comedy career.
He wants to be a comedian.
He is a comedian. He's a comedian. Brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Can we give a shout out to Junaid as well?
Junaid, yes.
Absolute monster of a man.
He's training you now.
He's training me now, yeah, because like I've got to get rid of this.
The belly.
He gave me some gripe the other day. He was saying like you're going to be in a superhero suit. You need to look like a superhero under there as well.
No, he's good. Junaid's recently been getting himself involved in local community initiatives. Which is nice to see.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. I really love that guy. But yeah, no, Luton just produces so many brilliant people, and I always say it's because of the pain and because of the trauma why we produce these people, because it's only out of when you see bad stuff going around you. Like good can't exist without bad. Do you know what I mean? It just can't. And the more bad something is, the more good you have to beat it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why our town is so bloody special. And I know that like there are struggles that we're going to face in the future with the cost of living and with the mental health crisis that nobody bloody talks about, man. Like, I mean, for me, I don't know what you think about this, but for me, the crux of all of our problems, and I don't just mean in Luton, I mean in the world, is mental health. I think that is the absolute crux. That's why people turn to drugs, and through going to drugs, that's why they turn to crime. And through crime, that's why they destroy families. And through destroying families, that's why they destroy communities. Right? That's what my personal belief is. It all starts with mental health and it not being understood properly and it not being taken seriously, and people not being there to support people who are going through it properly. Because a lot of the time in our community, but not in our community, in our culture, we stigmatize people who are suffering. Right?
It's not talked about.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not talked about because not many people understand it.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a lot more awareness about mental health. And I guess a lot of people just won't talk about their feelings.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's become one of these sort of things now where everybody knows it's important, right? But it's kind of almost like we still just don't get it. It's like, you walk past a homeless person in the street and most people look down on that guy. If there's someone walking around Luton town centre, I see it all the time. I'm there all the time, obviously. And there'll be someone walking through the town centre just screaming at the top of their head about something, going absolutely mental. There was this woman, I won't name who she is, but there was this woman that I saw before, and she was at the ATM, and she was just screaming and smashing it. And I came up to her and asked her what was wrong, and there was nothing that specifically happened. She was just having a breakdown, right? And it's obviously just all got too much for her. She obviously has some issues with her mental health, right? And I said to her, "Who's looking after you?" She said, "No one. I'm by myself." Like, and the thing is, I go through my own stuff, right? I've tried to get therapy and through the NHS, and it's just so bloody difficult. The waiting lists are so long. There's no doctors, like, and because of that, how are you supposed to get better? You're not going to, like,
No.
you know what I mean? It's just a fact. Without support, to let you know that, like, the thing that you're going through, that you're not alone in it. Firstly, but secondly, that there is a chance for you to get better. Like, I chat to all the homeless people when I'm out and about in town. They're lovely. There's a lot of them that are really nice. There's some of them that are troublemakers, but there's a lot of them are really, really nice. There's one guy that sits outside Magano's on, where the buses go.
B Street.
Yeah. So, he sits outside Magano's. He's got a dog with him. And I swear to God, he's one of the friendliest, loveliest men that you'll ever see in your life. But I promise you, anybody that walks past him, if you ask them, what do you think he does with that money? I guarantee they'll say he spends it on drugs. Or spends it on alcohol.
It's a perception.
Yeah, but he's not one of them people, man. He spends it on his dog. Do you know what I mean? That's what he does. He genuinely does. I've tried to give him money before, and he says, "Nah, just bring me some dog food." Do you know what I mean? That's how, like, he's a genuinely good guy, but people misjudge him.
I think because communication is key. If you talk to people, you learn.
Yeah.
But if you don't talk to people, you have this perception. And that perception, 9 out of 10 times becomes a negative perception if someone doesn't know you. And once you start talking to people, you actually realise they're just a normal human being.
Yeah. I mean, like, you do this through your curry kitchen. You know what I mean? The people that come in to discover Islam, again, some of them are having some really, really serious problems. And do you know what you guys do there? What makes me, again, really proud, because it's something that doesn't get done enough. So you're not just giving them food, but you're giving them advice.
Yeah.
Giving them support. There was a guy who came in who tried to kill himself, right? That I spoke to before. And he tried to jump off of something, and he failed because when he landed, he, like, bust his leg, right? Really bad state. And he was really, really struggling. And he came in to get some food, and everyone noticed why he was limping, and then people then spoke about it, and then the support goes there, and, like, then you guys are there for that guy, and now he comes in, and they, I've seen him use the phone, like, they let him use the phone to do things, and he wouldn't have that without you guys. So even, like, that's just one that I've really, really noticed whilst I'm there. There's loads of times where I go in there and there's someone talking in the back with Gassima, someone talking in the back with Hamza or with Sahel, or just whoever happens to be there to give the support.
I think being open and being talkative helps. People don't realise loneliness. A lot of people are lonely in our town, but giving someone time doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't, right?
It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Our soup kitchen on a Friday is 1 hour.
Yeah.
It's 1 hour, but we know he has a massive impact on the people who come and collect the hot food. We've got businesses that kind of support. We fundraise for it, and we know the impact.
Yeah.
We know the impact. You see firsthand of the people that are coming in. But if more people gave time to local initiatives, to local community groups, something that I see is that a lot of older people, they don't get time.
Yeah.
If they, one of my future projects.
Do you know what? I was going to say this. I've been thinking about something to do with this, but yeah, please tell me.
One of my future projects would be to do a luncheon club.
That's cool.
With older people, for somewhere they could come out and just communicate and meet people, because one day we're going to be old.
Yeah.
So if we don't create something,
then there'll be nothing for us as well. Yeah.
For us. So create a change that will have a legacy for other people.
Yeah. No, I love that. I've been thinking because what I find is, actually, let me just check. I know I'm being so stupid, but I'm so paranoid. Yes, it's still going. It's Mostaque magic. That's what that is. Yeah. So I've been thinking because obviously I spend a lot of time in town, yeah, like with my bucket and stuff, and just like chatting to people. And my rule, I've got like it's kind of similar. I guess I kind of base it on the Discover Islam policy, which is give them as much time as they need. Yeah. So like if someone comes up to me and talks to me, starts talking to me, I will not try to get out of that conversation. Yeah. I'm not going to say sorry. I need to. Just talk to me. Whatever you want to say, I'll be there. I've talked to people before for an hour and a half, and I'm supposed to be raising
money
from my bucket. But do you know what? I always think to myself exactly like what you say about the loneliness. How many people does that person talk to? You know what I mean? On a normal day-to-day basis. When was the last time they talked to someone? Full stop.
Yep.
Like I don't know any of that. So, and I'm not going to judge any of that. I'm not going to try and presume any of that. So I just give as much time. Like people, I get so many messages. It's actually really infuriating. My phone goes off constantly, right? And I use this whole thing of I'll give you all of my time. So no matter who it is, and I'm probably going to hate myself for saying this now because I'm going to get more. But whoever it is, if they message me, I respond as quickly as I can, firstly. And secondly, I will talk to them as much as they want to talk to me. And the whole point of that for me is because I don't know how much that person might need that. You know what I mean?
The thing is, for me, my phone's not a 9 to 5. If someone texts me at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, I get a response back. Time is something that is special that, if you give time, you build relationships.
Yeah, exactly.
It's if you do your basic 40, 50 hours and you don't do nothing else, that's fine as well. But if you give time to projects and you give time to people, you build key relationships and people value and respect you.
Yeah.
But I think, one of my projects this year is working with GPs and the park run.
Okay.
So patients come in and the doctors are volunteers. It's something that we created, but when we're doing projects, we build it slowly because we don't want a big influx of people.
Yeah, of course.
So the 4th of February, we're going to have most of the doctors out in the park run.
Okay.
And they'll get some of their patients out, and the project's called Luton Health Hive. So
that's cool.
So getting people out in outdoor spaces, mentally it's better for them, physically it's better for them. You don't need to run, but you can walk.
Yeah.
And it's just creating. If you create a sense of belonging, you'll always get a group of community out.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I feel like we need more and more and more stuff like that in Luton. And what I really liked what you said earlier on, just gotta go back to something you said earlier on, is that the whole idea of that it not being competitive with other people.
Yeah.
Like when you said about other colleges and stuff like that. And it's not a point of competition. It's just let's get more people involved. The more people that are involved, let's not put a cap on that either.
No.
Yeah. The more people that are involved to help with something, like when it comes to community, you can never have too many chefs in the kitchen.
No,
do you know what I mean?
you don't. I think for us, it's whether you're a CEO, whether you're a head teacher, whether you're a cleaner, whether you're a retail assistant, whether you're just nobody, you're going to be treated the same.
Yeah.
That's how we've always worked. I think when we did Love Luton, we had over 500 members, all different backgrounds, all different groups. And hopefully this year it'll be bigger and better of creating unity. If you've got unity, you're stronger together. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant community fund day. Lots of money will raise. We raised 47 grand for keeping it a warm campaign.
Oh my gosh!
It just shows.
Oh man, that's amazing.
It just shows that if you're united, people believe in your cause, people will support it. And this year, obviously, our aim is to raise a substantial amount for the food bank.
Yeah.
Because with the cost of living crisis,
they're going to be struggling the most.
People are going to be struggling.
So that's
the main reason. We're going to be supporting the food bank.
No, that's awesome, man. No, I'm really, I can't wait for this year to unfold for you, and then when we let's do more of these. Yeah,
definitely.
We'll chat again as the year goes on. Back. And then we'll promote whatever you're doing and whatever's going on. But I can't wait until this time next year where I look back at what you've done. I can't wait. Like,
we've got 7 events lined up for this year. So
Yeah.
that's what we've
So exciting.
So and I'm sure you'd be invited to every single
I
one.
want to go to every single
single
one.
one.
I can't wait, man. Oh, I love it. I love anything that's got Mostaque on it. I'm there. I'm there for a fact, man. Look,
No,
thank you so
thank
much,
you very much.
Mostaque. It's been an absolute pleasure having you, and
Thank
you having me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, hey Luton, watch this space. This guy's already taken over, but he's blowing up even more. Trust me. All right. See you later, everyone. Love you,
Take care.
Luton. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, thank you, dude. That was really good. That was really good.